Cool. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Jordan Ritchie Podcast. On today's episode, I've got the very talented Isaac. He's the lead singer of Fast Car To Florence. And I just wanted to kind of know, have you ever been to Florence? Is that where that came from?
I haven't, no.
And
No, I haven't. It's just completely random.
So you just sat there and just went, yeah, I'm gonna drive a fast car to Florence.
I think you've got to call your stuff something at some point. You know,
Wow.
You have to name your creation something, and that was the name that we decided on for that particular creation. You know.
Okay.
So
And I've seen quite a lot of your like gigs and stuff. I mean, obviously, I went on tour with you, and
you did. It's a long old tour that was.
yeah, all 3 shows.
Yeah.
And it's so. I mean, that just want to say as well, that was a weird gig for me because I was very nervous because I was just pressing the space bar.
You were filming on Snapchat as well,
And-
though, weren't
and
you?
filming on
or
Snapchat.
or Instagram. Or
But I was
whatever it
genuinely a bit nervous that I was going to mess it up. I was a bit like, oh. But I just kind of wanted to know, as I said, a few kind of quick fire questions to kind of just get to know you to start with. Have you ever had a bad gig?
Yes, I've had many bad gigs.
And come on, talk to me. What's happened in them?
Well,
Why were they bad?
Yeah, I think, for me, it's when stuff breaks, that has happened quite a bit. It doesn't happen anymore because, the more advanced you get, you can afford better stuff that you can rely on, But, you just get... Sometimes you have a bad day and you're trying to sing, and your voice isn't feeling great. The audience doesn't respond quite how you want them to, I think there has to be a real synergy between you and the audience, really, when you're gigging. And sometimes it just, for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen. And then sometimes you get stuff like, the really embarrassing stuff when you literally fall over or
that happened to you?
Yeah, it's happened to me quite a few times. I've fallen off the stage before. You get a bit too carried away and you start legging it about, and you know.
Have you ever stage dived?
I've never stage dived because I always think of that scene in School of Rock where he does it and everyone moves and they don't catch him.
Brilliant.
And I feel like I don't know. It's not I'm quite a scared person generally. I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit like, I don't really want to try stuff if I think I might get hurt.
Yeah.
So
that sounds like quite a reasonable thing.
I feel like I'm quite a sensible person, and I feel like being sensible doesn't often go with the character of being the front man in a band. I feel
which is quite rock.
You have to be, you have to be, I'll stage dive, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I'm quite logical, and I'll think like...
So you're not smashing any guitars on the...
No, completely not. No, I
that
paid
costs,
for them.
Yeah, quite
I need
a lot
to use
of money.
them again.
Yeah. And so speaking of bands, you've been in quite a few yourself.
I have, yeah.
What are some of the names? I mean, obviously, there's in Hindsight, which we'll get to in a little while, but which other bands have you been in?
I've been in many. I've been in many bands. There was a band. I think my first ever band was called the Cockroaches. It was
Great name.
Pretty hardcore. I think I was about 10, 9
Was
or
it-
10.
Was
It was pretty sick.
was that still like quite rocky and metally, just as a year 9? Well, not even year 9.
I think it was like year 5 at this
Year
point. I think
5,
I'd
wow.
literally just started learning the guitar, and my mate had a drum kit. And I don't think he even knew how to play it. I think he just had it. But we were just like, come on, we've got to form a band, surely. Like, that is the thing to do. And then we had another mate who, I don't think he really was interested in music in any way whatsoever. And we were just like, you're being the bassist. You're getting a bass and you're joining our band. And he didn't even know how to play. He didn't have any interest in doing it. We kind of just like coerced him into doing it.
Fully forced him.
Yeah, completely. Because we needed a bass player.
Yeah.
I think like I was like 9 or 10. And I just discovered, the guitar. I was sort of, my knowledge of like bands was sort of beginning to sort of, I was sort of getting into music, bands, rock, I guess. And I was very into Nirvana at that point. That was like, I think everyone goes through a phase where Nirvana is like the best band. Because they're,
100%.
a great band. I still listen to them now,
Yeah.
But it was very much like I was growing my hair long, wanted to be like Kurt Cobain, and we were like, we need to be a 3-piece because there's 3 of them in Nirvana and it's sick on stage,
I love that.
As in terms of the actual sound of the band, I think it probably just sounded like garbage. I think it probably sounded like 3 9-year-olds just hitting instruments.
Yeah,
and
which is where it all starts.
But we enjoyed it, and that's the thing. We really enjoyed the experience. I still remember it now, feeling really, really excited. I remember sitting in class when we were like 9 or 10 in primary school, like drawing like little storyboards for the music videos that we were gonna do for the songs we hadn't even written yet.
Amazing.
For the band that barely even was a thing, you know. But I think that's the important thing, you know. I think we all got really excited by it.
Sure.
We all really kind of enjoyed the feeling of like planning all these things and even just playing together. Like, even though we weren't very good and we'd only just started, you know, it was an exciting thing. And even at that point, you're not going to be great. It leads you to improve, and it leads you to want to play with other people as much as you can, you know, because I think that's the important thing. I think if you can just play with other people, and if you can get a buzz from doing that, that is what is going to make you a better musician generally, you know.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, so obviously then you went from Cockroaches, you said. So there's probably then a few of the little variations of that band, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, I think so. I think Cockroaches lasted maybe like a month. I think we never mounted. We never met our full potential, basically.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
And then obviously, so then the big one is in Hindsight.
Yeah. So In Hindsight was a band that I joined when I was about 15, I think. So, but at this point, I'd been in a few other bands, and I'd played a few different things. Like, I think I'd been in a band as a singer, like just as a singer, like not doing anything else. And I was in a band as a drummer at one point. Which was kind of cool, but it wasn't really for me. But then In Hindsight, I joined as a guitarist because they existed already as a three-piece.
Yeah.
So there was Michael and Daniel, who were the singer and drummer, and then there was Sam, who's the other guitarist. And I kind of got to know them through the kind of local scene, I guess. Like, I met them at a gig, I think, if I remember correctly. And I really liked them as people, and I thought they're great musicians. And I thought they stood out, like, in terms of the kind of local scene, you know.
Of course.
And I really wanted to sort of like get in with them, and they needed another guitarist, so it just kind of happened. And we were together, I think, overall maybe about how long would it have been? Maybe 4 years.
I was gonna say that, and I mean, obviously for you guys, like you did some serious things. Like, you were very close to getting signed. You were doing schools tours all over the place. You were actually quite big, like to a point where I still find it a little bit weird when, obviously a couple of years ago mainly, but you'd go out with even you, or you go out with Michael, and there would be people coming up to him that were fans from In Hindsight from like 3 years ago or something. It's still quite a weird sort of thing to... I mean, obviously, I think you all lost your blue ticks on Twitter. Which
yeah, my blue tick's gone, mate. It's long gone. I'm never getting that back.
Which I remember, obviously, the Rock City days where you'd be like, do I get free drinks with this? But I remember those days. And they were obviously... That's why I think I started to get attached to you guys, because I was like, these guys are cool. But I mean, you guys were doing some serious things, but obviously, you know, as you said earlier, you know, things happen in bands. Obviously, it was all chilled, but you all just kind of went your own separate ways, really.
Yeah.
And like, how was that for you? Was that kind of like a bit of a turning point in your like, not career as such, but maybe even life? Just kind of like, obviously, you put so much into this band. Then kind of dissipated. I want to say that word, and I don't know if it's right.
Well, we can go with that.
Yeah, let's go.
It sounds clever.
It sounds
clever. It sounds like it should be right.
Sounds like it should be.
I think it was the thing I take away from In Hindsight was like, it was such a big learning experience for myself and also for everyone else involved. We basically, like I say, I joined the band when I was like 15. That's when we kind of got together. And basically straight out of school. And even while we were still in school, I think I was the oldest member, so I'd kind of finished school by the time things started kicking off. But like, Daniel was still doing his GCSEs and stuff while we were doing a lot. We were having to get like session drummers to fill in while he was doing exams and stuff. It was mad. So it was like, you know, those sort of years, for whatever you want to do with your life, they're very formative to who you are as a person. They're very formative to your idea of like the world and how things work and stuff. And, you know, it was a really it was a really, really important learning experience for us. And I think I really enjoyed it, and I still look back on it very, very fondly, as do the other guys. And I think the main thing that's important is that we're still all very close. You know, we never fell out. We never it's not that we don't talk anymore. We still see each other a lot, you know, which is great. That's the thing that I value the most out of that, because it could have been really horrible. It could have,
of course.
I don't think it was ever going to be, but there are situations where bands fall out and they don't, you know, look at the Gallaghers, they're brothers, you know, it was mad. But it was, so I'm really glad at that. I'm really glad that we went through the things that we went through, because I am kind of glad that it didn't ever go anywhere, because I think,
why is that?
Well, it's not because, not for any sort of like bitter reason. I just think that we were very young. Yeah. And our idea of like what was going on was a bit, I don't want to say jaded, because jaded has a negative connotation. I think maybe naive. Maybe we were a bit naive as to what was kind of happening. But I think I'm really glad that we achieved the things that we did, because we worked very hard to achieve them.
Of course.
And it set us all up individually as people, myself, Michael and Daniel. We're all really enjoying where we are now in our own sort of personal musical careers. Yeah. / you know, place.
I have actually got a weird feeling that probably all of the In Hindsight members at probably some point will be on this podcast.
Sick.
Because you guys are like, that's what I'm saying. You're all kind of doing your own thing.
Yeah, it's great. And it's really good. And we're all really supportive of each other.
100%.
You know?
And you're all being very successful.
Yeah, well, I'm thanks. I mean, like, we're all just trying our best, you know? And I like I say, it's great that we can all still meet up and we can go, you know, oh, what are you doing? Yeah, sick, you know.
And it was also interesting as well, is because I think that actually for me, it's like some of the more talented musicians in Nottingham would probably be you guys. You know what I mean?
Thanks,
like
man.
you guys are smashing it. And so
I appreciate you saying that.
That's all right, man. And so obviously in hindsight, it happened. You know, sure, we've moved on. Yeah. Now we've got Fast Car To Florence.
Yes.
What was, obviously, as you said earlier, we're relaunching. We've kind of regrouped. We're going back out. What's 2020 got for you?
It's a bit of a funny one, actually. We basically, last year, we didn't... So when we started the band, it was about 4 years ago. We started in sort of 2016. So it was just like, as In Hindsight had just finished. Yeah. I kind of came out of that. I'd written a bunch of songs off the back of In Hindsight finishing, because I wanted to like explore being a songwriter, being a singer, because I was kind of really just the guitarist in Hindsight. Yeah. I did help with the writing a little bit, but it was mainly Michael and Daniel that were doing that kind of thing, which obviously is great because they're really good writers and producers, but I wanted to kind of explore my own sort of songwriting a little bit.
Of course.
Just so I did that off the back of that band finishing, and I went through this spree of just writing, and I wrote loads of stuff, and I'd met a guy called Chris, who's the drummer in the band.
Okay.
And we met because we were both playing in a wedding band together. It was kind of like a manufactured wedding band. It was really weird. And the first time I met him was at a video shoot for the promotional material for that wedding band, which you might be able to find online somewhere, but I really hope no one goes and looks for it, because it's so embarrassing. It's objectively bad, you know.
I feel that you've now put that out there, so potentially someone now at home is going to go, right.
I used to be really sort of uptight about what is available to watch of me online, but now I just don't care. It's just like, if it's there, watch it, have a laugh. If it's funny, and if it's bad, which it is, you know, poke fun at it if you really want to. But I think like nowadays we live in a kind of age where you can't take yourself too seriously. You have to allow people to laugh at you. You have to just get in on the joke. Yeah. You know, otherwise you come across as really sort of stuffy.
Well, I think it just eats you up. Yeah. I don't think it eats anybody else up but yourself.
Because, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I used to be a wedding DJ, and I'm pretty sure there's stuff online of me DJing in a wedding in a band, just going mental.
I'm going to go and look for it now. After we finish doing this.
I think I deleted it, but it was just one of those of like, I was looking at it going like, oh my gosh, I look really young and weird. Yeah. And I'm just going a bit mental.
I think you always hate yourself when you look back on stuff that you've done to an extent.
Yeah, you know? To be brutally honest, like even looking back at this podcast, like even when this goes live, I'll look at it and be like, oh fam, why did I wear that? Why did I have my hair like that?
Yeah, I think you're always your own worst critic, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, getting a bit off topic
Tangents.
here, but yeah. So me and Chris, we met doing that, and we did this wedding band quite intensely for like the first part of 2016. And we were we'd be together every weekend. We'd be traveling in a van, going and playing weddings and stuff. And it was a job. It was a job, and it was all right. It was a bit sort of monotonous and a bit boring, but it was cool. Sort of. Basically, I'd written all these songs, and obviously myself and Chris, we'd been playing quite a bit doing these covers gigs.
Yeah.
And there was just one point where I was sort of talking about the songs that I'd written, and Chris was like, you know, can I hear them? And I was like, Yeah, actually, yeah. Maybe you can.
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
I should start showing people what I've been doing.
Yeah.
So I think I sent him a bunch of songs that I'd written, and he really liked it, and he was like, "Let's start a band. You know, if you need a drummer and you want to start a band, let's do it." And I was like, "Yeah." You know, we play together all the time anyway. We both started working as session musicians as well.
Okay.
So we were both off touring quite a lot.
Yeah.
So we had to it was very stop-start when the band first started. We put all these plans in place, and then one of us would go on tour for like a month or so. And we'd have to kind of, you know, put it on ice for a bit and come back to it.
Yeah,
But,
of course.
yeah, we basically kind of got started properly in like 2017, and we brought in Mike, who was the bass player at the time. He's now no longer in the band.
R.I.P.
We kind of, well, you know, it wasn't for him in the end of the day. It's all fine. We still see him a lot. He actually is playing with us live still, which is cool.
Okay, cool.
He's
That's
still
fine.
he's not in the band, but he's still involved as a kind of session player, I guess, for the shows, because he's a great bass player and we all play really well together.
And we need him.
Exactly. And he needs us. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think we spent about 2 years trying to figure out who we were as a band, like what our kind of place in music was.
Sure.
And I think it was a period of experimentation, and we didn't realize that it was a period of experimentation. I think we thought that it was the finished product.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is Fast Car to Florence. This is who we are. We're going to go out and conquer the world. And it didn't quite work out quite like that, because we were still finding out who we were in terms of what we wanted to say, how we wanted to present ourselves, how we wanted to sound, who we wanted to appeal to, you know. People often start bands when they're like 17, 18, and they've kind of got no responsibilities. But we're a little bit older than that now. Like, we're 24, 25, you know.
Got to pay the rent.
It's a weird time, because like you got bills to pay.
Yeah.
You've got kind of commitments in your personal life, depending on who you are, but you're still quite young, and you still really want to give yourself to what you're passionate about. So
Exactly.
it is a weird situation, because you do get people like Mike who are more, you know, I want to save up a bit for this or that or whatever, you know. People's priorities start to lie in different places when you reach this kind of age, don't they?
Of course.
You know,
yeah,
like
100%.
some people have literally like no cares in the world and will just go off in a van and travel, and some people are getting married and having kids. It's really weird. It's like
it's a very strange time.
and it's like, for me personally, like, and for Chris as well, like, we're both in like very serious relationships with our girlfriends. Like, we both I say we both live together, like me and Chris live together. We don't live together. We both live with our girlfriends. We're both kind of committed in that kind of way, but at the same time, we're still very much like willing to risk. You know, we're willing to take the risk on being in a band, and, you know, potentially not earning money for the sake of going out on tour.
Yeah, of course.
And trying to make it work in that kind of way. So for 2020, it's all about establishing the band as it is now. We have a really clear idea of who we are, of what we want to say, of where we want to be. And so it's still difficult, because we're still juggling our schedule with our own personal schedules as session players. So it's like, you know, at the moment we can't tour as much as we want to.
Yeah.
You know, we can do like this Shirt the Chameleon, we can do the odd kind of local show when we can.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment it's really about the music, the content, just establishing who we are, just an identity for the band in a way that we haven't yet.
Well, I was actually one of the questions I've got down is that you're one of pretty much the only kind of, and I want to use this, like, I want to say this in the nicest way possible. It's like you guys are still like kind of an amateur sort of ish band, but you're the only one that I've seen of that kind of level that is doing merch, is got its own website, you know.
I think you need to.
And well, yeah, I think you do, but also you kind of seeing like a bit more of an interaction with the fans because of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I think it's a really difficult one, and this is something we'd struggled with as well. It's like, you need to treat your band as a business to an extent, because that's what it is. That's how you earn money. That's how you make it, so it's not just a hobby. That's how it becomes your job. You know, you have to,
of course,
you have to be mindful of stuff like ticket sales and merch sales, and have a website and be on it with your social media, advertising, all of that kind of stuff. You do need to think about it.
Social media, man. I'm going to be brutally honest. It's not really my forte. I find it takes so long.
It really does.
So long.
It would be really it would be so much easier if we lived in a world where it didn't exist, but it does.
Yeah.
And it dictates everyone's behavior. So you just have to get on with it.
You
and
have
you have to make it work for yourself. And your comment about our kind of interaction with fans and stuff, I think it's really important. It's an important balance, because obviously you have to treat what you're doing as a business in order to make enough money to keep going,
of course,
and in order to make it a thing, you know. But at the same time, you can't be too cold-hearted about that. It can't be all numbers and spreadsheets and money. You know, it's like
all about money.
it's really difficult getting that balance. And like, the thing is that music is such a human thing, you know.
Now, speaking about your music, I mean, a lot of obviously artists, it's about breakups, it's about falling in love, it's about basically relationships is what most people write songs about.
Yeah.
Are you in that category? Is that what you would say your inspiration is? Or
it's not entirely. No, I think like a lot of my songwriting comes from like the human psyche, if that makes sense. I guess it's a reflection of how I see the world currently and how I experience the world and how I think how I feel about certain things will translate onto how other people feel as well. You know, I think everyone, like we were saying about this sort of age that you're at, you know, when you're sort of 21 to 25 or whatever, or even like earlier, you know, 18 to 25. It's a weird time. Because you're trying to figure out who you are really, and what you're doing with your life.
With your life,
you know.
And some of us are sitting around making podcasts.
Exactly. Some of us have not got it sorted at all. Some of us are in bands and are not earning any money and are desperately trying to tour when there's no demand for it.
Please go see him.
You know. But yeah, I think it is a weird time because some people have really got it sorted.
Yeah.
Some people absolutely have not. Some people are in the middle. Everyone's trying to figure it out.
Exactly.
And I think that's really what I'm writing about most of the time. It's about just trying to figure life out. It's trying to, you know, your emotional kind of response to situations, whether that be to do with relationships, like romantic relationships, like with a partner, or like platonic relationships with a friend, or like your relationship with your family, or whatever. It's about dealing with like rejection, you know, whether it be like work or socially or whatever. It's just like I feel like the age that we're living in now is just a big learning experience.
100%.
You encounter situations and you respond to them in a certain way, and then you have to figure out whether that is good or not for you.
Yeah, of course.
And I think. Yeah, we do have songs that are about sort of love, you know, romantic kind of love.
Breakups.
I don't think we have any breakup songs.
I don't know why
I'm down. I'm trying to think. No, I don't think we do.
Well, I mean, this goes very nicely into my next section. So here on the Jordan Ritchie Podcast, great name by the way, I've come up with a new feature for this you know, section.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of know, for some of the musicians that I'm going to have on the show, I was wanting to know how well you know your own music.
Ooh. Interesting.
So the aim of the game is that I'm going to say some lyrics, and I just want to tell you what song you think it is.
Sure. One of my songs.
Oh yeah. I've not just picked random.
not
songs.
just any song. Okay, cool.
So I mean, obviously we'll start off nice and easy. I mean, I hope this is easy, and I also hope that like I've been listening to them, so I just hope that I've got the right band more than anything.
Yeah, it'd be a bit awkward if you didn't.
So did I say too much? Did I say too much?
That is English Skin.
Very correct.
He's got one well. it's pretty easy to remember that one, isn't
it? So obviously you were saying that they were about the psyche. I've kind of tried to go through a few random ones that might kind of try and throw you off, is what I'm trying to do.
Right, okay.
As August turns into December.
That's a song called No Excuse.
He's good. He's good. He's good. I think he's a bit nervous because he's thinking in his head, I don't want to get any of these wrong.
I don't think I will get any wrong because, to be honest, I think I'm my own band's biggest fan.
That's a good thing.
I think you got to be though. I think if you don't believe in what you're doing. Is the entire line.
He's good. I was going to put the whole thing, but then I thought actually it might be...
It's a bit long and self-indulgent, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I also thought it might throw him off more.
Actually, yes, this line is, you know...
So the next one, it's It's not okay. It's never okay.
That's a song called My Open Door.
Good. He's very good. He's just like, yeah. No, I remember writing that.
Yeah.
I just like that. I was listening to one of these songs and I just like the when it was like, it's not okay. In fact, it's never okay. I just like the fact that you'd gone.
Well, it's not. I think like that song is about remaining positive and
Sure.
like I was saying about reacting to situations. Like that song, My Open Door, is literally about the phrase, one door shuts, another door opens. You always have to remain positive about stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that bit in particular, I think the whole line is, do you... now you've got me on the spot. now you've got me on the spot. Do you come home and break till the end of the day? Do you sing to yourself till you feel okay, but it's not okay, it's never okay? It's like, do you slack off? Do you just do you sit around doing nothing and think that it's okay? Because it's not. Because if you want to achieve stuff, you have to work for it. You have to admit.
I love it.
Come
on.
And that came from me because I'm so bad at literally just sitting about and thinking, yeah, this is fine. I've done like an hour's work today, so I can just watch TV and stuff. And it's not okay. Be kind to yourself, but also work.
Boom.
Work.
Come on. And for every listener out there,
Just if you want to do something, just work for it. Don't kid yourself into thinking that it's going to happen by just sitting around.
Set up some lights and cameras and follow your dream.
Exactly. Well, it's never going to happen if you don't try.
Thank you very much. So again, what I quite like with yours is that there's a lot of repetition that you use.
Or laziness, maybe.
And again, I quite like just the aggressiveness. Well, sure, we'll use that as a word.
Passion,
which is just
maybe.
Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Which is one of my faves. I was listening to it going, wow, yeah, I don't think is he going to tell me to keep my mouth shut? I don't know.
It sounds really threatening when you take it out of context and you just say it like that. It sounds like a gangster film, like Goodfellas or something.
Yeah.
No.
Do you know which song that is?
Yeah, it's Eye Shine. It's a song called Eye Shine.
He's good. He's got it good.
It's funny that's actually a song about, that is a love song, kind of. It's about kind of falling in love with someone, I guess. Saying to yourself, don't do anything stupid.
Sure.
Don't be an idiot. You're trying to impress this person.
I like that.
Keep your mouth shut.
I like it.
Because I chat a lot of nonsense.
Rubbish.
Yes, rubbish. So, I know that sometimes I have to say to myself, shut up.
So Isaac, keep your mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut. I can't. I'm literally here to talk, so I can't.
Exactly. Please don't do that. So last one is again, I just found it a bit of a random sort of little lyric, and that is, I put my thumbs above my eyes. That is, I put my thumbs above my eyes.
It's actually I put my thumbs in both my eyes. Kind of go.
I knew it. I listened to it so many times, and I was going in my head, is this the exact right? Because it's quite hard to listen to. I'm going to be brutally honest, but not in terms of I'm a little bit probably just listening to it going, I think that's what it says.
Maybe my diction is not as good as it could be on that song.
I don't think it's. I think it's probably me listening to it.
Maybe it's a bit of both. I don't know.
Go on then. What song's that?
It's Just Smile.
Nice. I mean, you've absolutely smashed that.
Thanks.
What I quite liked is that it gets the artist kind of talking about their songs. Because obviously, if you just kind of say a song and then they go, "What's that one about?"
Yeah.
They normally just go, "Oh, yeah."
you have to kind of lead as well, I think, because if I was to just, I could talk about my songs all day because I love them. I love songwriting. But if I was to just sit down and go, I'm going to tell you about what all these songs are about. It can, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit self-indulgent. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But,
so last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is that, I mean, why I really wanted to get you kind of on the show really is because you've kind of done everything. You've sort of done you pretty much play any instrument.
Oh.
You've done the wedding singing. You've done the also.
I can't play the saxophone. I really want to play the saxophone.
I mean, that's, go home and learn it. And come back. But so obviously you've done the actually quite big tours with some of the quite bigger artists. And so for me, it was I wanted to think about what the listener at home, and some of them might be budding artists themselves. And so I kind of just wanted to talk to you, like, obviously that as I said, you've kind of done all of it. And there's obviously a few different stages that, you know, obviously, again, the big tours will look great, but also sometimes actually you might have learned quite a lot in the wedding band, and you've probably met some great people in the wedding band.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
obviously driving back from Cornwall is going to take quite a long time. And so, yeah, I just kind of wanted you, obviously, just to wrap it up and kind of like talk a little bit about those sort of things and kind of, I guess, just probably inspire some people that are potentially wanting to kind of do what you're doing. And just to kind of,
Well, I'm flattered that you think I could inspire people.
I think anyone can inspire anyone.
Yeah, and that you think that I've done everything as well. That's nice to hear. I really don't feel like I have, to be honest, which is really interesting.
Hey, we'll get there.
Yeah, I think like for me, the most important thing to remember is, like I was saying earlier, you never get anywhere without working hard for it, and that applies to like anything, like music, podcasts.
Sure.
Just whatever you want to do, it's never going to be handed to you. And if it is, it's never going to last because you haven't got the work ethic to keep it up. I think specifically with music, I would say, I have tried quite a few different things in my time. It makes me sound about 80 years old. But I would say to be open to changing your mind. I think that's been really important for me because I've been so stuck on a certain like wavelength at times in my life where I think this is the only thing I like. For example, there was a time where I was like, I'm going to be the front man in a band and not play guitar, and it's going to be like sort of metal-y kind of stuff. That this is when I was 15, and I was set on doing that.
I've changed,
and then I changed my mind a lot, and nowadays I do a lot of different things. You know, I've got the band. And I work as a session guitarist as well. So I play for other people. That's like my job. That's like the day job. And the band is the thing that I do alongside that, you know. So I get to experience sort of different angles. And also I write songs too, you know, and I get to experience that angle. I think it's just important to just try loads of different things if you're a musician.
Yeah, of course.
You know. I think it's just, you have to just see what works for you, see what you enjoy. Because it might be that the thing you think you want, you don't actually really enjoy that much. I always feel like your actions dictate where your heart is at more than your words.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
If you say you want something, but you don't do it, you don't really want it. You're just saying it because you think you want it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, there was a time where I was like, I'm going to sack off the band altogether and I'm just going to be a session guitarist because I don't have to worry about money because the work is there. I don't have to worry about like building something from the ground up. You know, it's just a lot easier. But then it didn't happen. I went back to doing the band because that's what I love, you know. So I think, you know, if you're a musician and you're kind of figuring out what you're doing, where you're going or whatever, just like, it's important to take a step back and just look at what you're doing because that will dictate what it is you actually want, you know, whether it's writing songs, touring as a session player, being in your own band, producing, sound engineering, whatever, you know. And and also I think it's important to remember that it's never glamorous. As glamorous as it looks from the outside. Like I've done some pretty big shows before, like both in bands that I've been in and as a session player. And it might, sometimes from the outside, it looks really, really glamorous. Yeah. It's still a lot of work involved, you know. Yeah, that's not to say it's not good. You know, it's really enjoyable. But
what is the biggest like crowd wise?
Last year in Mexico,
how big are we talking?
I played a stadium that I think had like 65,000 people. But this was not this was a session thing. Yeah, this was not my own band. But I would be over the moon if that was maybe one day. I don't know.
Just remember me if that is the case.
This is the thing. Like, and another thing I was going to say is like, if you feel yourself changing as a person because of the level of that you're getting at,
sure,
you need to have a look at yourself because you need to remember where you came from. You need to remember the people that helped you when you started out.
Yeah,
you need to remember the people that are still helping you. You know, you never stop getting help from people. Yeah. Whatever stage that you're at in your career, you can always learn and you can always get help from people, and people will always be there to support you because it might not last. you know, I think it's important to remember that as well. Like wherever you are, if you're like just starting out, if you are living the dream, if you're touring loads, if you're doing exactly what you want to do, there might be a time where it finishes. It's difficult to tell. So you just have to just try and enjoy it and try and just make as many friends and experiences as you can while you're doing it as well. And just don't be an arse. Can I say that? Can I say arse?
I think we might be able to keep arse in. But
bum.
I think on that absolute bombshell, I love that actually. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. This has been Fast Cars to Florence. I just want to go to Florence now. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've still never been. Maybe we should go. Maybe me and you should go.
Let's do it. Is there any? So this is your time. Is there anything you want to plug? Is there any? Talk to them about their social media. Like I'm guessing it's just probably at Fast Cars to Florence.
Yeah, well, it's Fast Car to Florence. A single car.
Do you know what I mean? That's
one single car.
I feel that's where I keep looking at it because I want to keep saying cars.
Yeah,
and it's not. It's just one car.
I think it's our fault for thinking of a stupid name that doesn't make sense. It's too long, but you know. Hey. No, I think the reason behind that, we started the band. I went to Italy like around the time that we started the band, and I just learned to drive.
Go.
So
there we go.
It was I think it was a very subtle kind of thing, but it still doesn't mean anything. That's my kind of like arty sort of interpretive answer, but you know, I'm kind of lying to you really.
Fast Car to Florence.
Single car because we're all on the journey together.
Come on.
I'm
in the back.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping.
You're DJing, mate. Yeah, it's just the social stuff. It's just Fast Car to Florence and everything. I think Twitter might be Fast Florence. It is Fast Florence. I should know. Really, if I'm plugging these things. It was Twitter. Twitter wouldn't let us have the full name.
Classic Twitter.
Too long.
I mean, obviously, we'll obviously put them in the bio bit underneath this video anyway when it goes out on YouTube.
Sweet.
So don't worry about that, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please subscribe and all of that good stuff, and we'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye. Boom.
Nice one. Happy?
Mate, thank you so much.
Thanks for that, man.